Meghan Markle has just made the judge of Australian MasterChef, a household name, beloved figure in Australia, Poh Ling Yeow, cry during filming.
So, many people know Poh Ling Yeow as one of Australia's most loved television cooks, admired for her warm personality and calm nature. But recent claims have brought unexpected attention to her name, with reports saying she has finally spoken out about Meghan Markle's alleged behavior behind the scenes during work on MasterChef Australia. So, what is said to have happened behind the cameras? Why are these claims getting so much attention now? And how could they affect Meghan Markle's public image? But what do you think about these reports? Do you believe the claims are believable, or do you think there is more to the story? Share your opinion in the comments below. Meghan Markle MasterChef controversy. Alright, Meghan Markle has faced claims of difficult behavior for years. Critics have often accused her of being hard to work with, and some have even pointed to old stories involving Princess Charlotte when she was just 3 years old as part of that ongoing debate. Meghan may have believed that appearing on MasterChef Australia would help strengthen her image as someone who enjoys cooking and entertaining. Instead, the appearance has reportedly created a wave of controversy before the episode has even aired. According to reports, one of the show's well-known judges, Poh Ling Yeow, was left upset after accidentally using the word royalty while introducing Meghan. The situation has surprised many people because Meghan still uses the Duchess of Sussex title in many public settings, making the reported reactions seem confusing to some critics. One commentator even argued that the appearance may have gone against the agreement made after the Sandringham summit. According to that opinion, the issue was never really about Poh saying the word royalty. Instead, it was reportedly because the cooking challenge itself was called A Dish Fit for a Duchess, which openly referred to Meghan's royal title. The same commentator also claimed Meghan was not appearing on the program simply to support the show, but because she was being paid a large fee by Channel 10. Supporters of Meghan have pushed back against the criticism. They say Meghan herself did not understand why anyone believed a judge had been upset, and insisted that she had a wonderful experience during the filming. Critics, however, argue that this response focused only on Meghan's own experience instead of considering how others may have felt. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle seem to find themselves making the same kind of headlines again and again. Even before the MasterChef Australia episode reached television screens, stories coming out of Sydney had already attracted worldwide attention. Reports claimed that Poh Ling Yeow, one of Australia's most respected television personalities, had been left in tears during filming. According to those reports, everything started with one word. Poh was said to have used the word royalty while welcoming Meghan. To many people, it sounded like nothing more than a friendly compliment. But reports claim that Meghan's team had specifically instructed producers not to use that word, and the mistake reportedly created immediate tension behind the scenes. Critics argue that this follows a familiar pattern. They believe Meghan often walks into situations where people are genuinely trying to make her feel welcome, only for something to go wrong and leave others feeling uncomfortable while she moves on without showing much concern. Supporters, however, would likely disagree with that view and say many of these stories rely on anonymous sources and speculation. Some people who discussed the reported incident said Poh appeared to be doing exactly what any kind and welcoming host would do. They believe she simply wanted to make Meghan feel appreciated by calling her MasterChef royalty. It sounded like a harmless compliment delivered with warmth and good intentions. According to the reports, that compliment was not received well. Instead, Meghan's team was said to be unhappy because they had reportedly asked producers to avoid any references to royalty. Poh was allegedly embarrassed by what had happened and wanted to apologize right away. Reports also claimed she was advised to keep her distance afterward, adding even more mystery to the story. Some reports suggested that parts of the exchange never appeared in the final broadcast. Footage was reportedly removed during editing. While television programs often edit scenes for many different reasons, critics argue that removing moments involving the show's biggest guest naturally raises questions about what really happened behind the scenes. The controversy has also sparked wider criticism of Meghan's public image. Some of her strongest critics argue that this latest report fits a pattern they believe has existed for years. They claim she often reacts strongly to situations that others see as harmless, and that these moments continue to create unwanted headlines. Why did MasterChef contestants reportedly ignore Meghan Markle? Why are fresh reports about Meghan Markle's behavior bringing back old accusations from her royal days? Let's explore further. Bullying claims against Meghan. So, Meghan Markle has often been accused of treating people badly. Reports claimed that during the show, several contestants walked right past Meghan to ask the real judges for advice. Even though she was sitting front and center as the biggest celebrity in the room, many of the cooks barely paid any attention to her. It was almost as if she wasn't even there. Why? Because Poh Ling Yeow brought something Meghan simply couldn't match. She came across as warm, friendly, genuine, and easy to like. The moment Poh walked into the room, people naturally gravitated toward her. Meghan has never seemed comfortable sharing the spotlight. Whenever someone else gets more attention, even without trying, people say the mood around her quickly changes. Many critics also argue that Meghan's biggest problem is that she simply cannot admit when she's wrong. They believe she sees herself very differently from how other people see her, and struggles to accept criticism. It's not that Meghan isn't intelligent. The problem, according to many critics, is that she rarely feels genuine. Every interview, every speech, and every public appearance seems to show a different version of her. One day she presents herself one way, and the next day she has a completely different personality. That constant change makes it hard for some people to know who the real Meghan actually is. She once joked that she was too busy to cook, but knew how to make takeout food look beautiful. Critics immediately rolled their eyes. They joked that her idea of cooking was probably just sprinkling flower petals over someone else's meal. And even then, they said it somehow turns into another opportunity to promote herself. To them, everything seems carefully staged, even the smallest details. Her cooking career hasn't exactly won over critics either. Meghan's Netflix cooking show received a 0% score from some professional reviewers. Not a low score, but an actual 0. When the second season arrived, reviews remained just as negative. Some critics even joked that the only reason viewers tuned in at all was because they hoped Prince Harry might unexpectedly appear somewhere in the background. The show reportedly never even reached Netflix's top 300 most watched titles. Despite that, Meghan has continued speaking about it as though it were a major success, while presenting herself as an expert on cooking, entertaining, and home life. The criticism didn't stop there. Some people accused her of borrowing ideas from well-known lifestyle experts like Martha Stewart and Pamela Anderson. One of the biggest talking points was her one-pot pasta recipe, which critics claimed looked almost identical to one Martha Stewart had made famous years earlier. When Martha Stewart was later asked about the similarities, she chose not to respond publicly. For many people watching, that silence spoke louder than any statement could have. Critics argue that Meghan cooked a few simple dishes and suddenly started acting like an authority on cooking, hosting guests, and everything related to the home. In their view, that reputation simply wasn't earned. When comedians later created a parody of Meghan's Netflix cooking show, they focused heavily on the one-pot pasta recipe. They claimed it closely copied Martha Stewart's famous version, almost step for step. They joked that Martha was probably wondering why someone was trying so hard to copy her style, while, at the same time, publicly complaining that her luxurious home wasn't big enough. Meghan has defended herself by saying that no matter what people call her or what they think about her, she is still the same person. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have built much of their public image around kindness, compassion, and living a positive lifestyle. But critics say the stories coming from people who have worked closely with Meghan paint a very different picture. Former palace employees have reportedly spoken about leaving work in tears. Several assistants reportedly resigned after only a short time. Formal complaints about workplace behavior have also been reported. Stories even led to the nickname Sussex Survivors Club, with claims that some staff members became extremely anxious before meetings with the couple. And whenever these stories make headlines, critics say a familiar pattern follows. A glowing magazine article suddenly appears describing Meghan as wonderful to work with, followed soon after by carefully chosen family photos on social media that present a perfect public image. Are these new claims from Australia simply another rumor? Do they fit a pattern critics say has followed Meghan Markle across the world? Let's take a closer look. The awkward encounter. But Poh Ling Yeow reportedly wanted to apologize after giving Meghan Markle what she thought was a compliment. Yet, according to the reports, Meghan's response was to completely shut her out. Critics say this fits a pattern they believe has followed Meghan for years. The claim is that whenever someone questions her behavior, she doesn't try to work things out. Instead, she cuts that person off. They say it's the same pattern people first talked about during her time at Kensington Palace in 2018, the same one that later followed her to Hollywood. And now, according to these reports, has shown up again on the set of MasterChef Australia. Supporters of Prince Harry say he has spent years standing by her. But critics argue the results have only made these stories continue. Many of Meghan's critics believe she reacts the same way every time. In their view, if someone says she was rude or difficult, she treats that person like the problem instead of looking at the criticism. They claim the message is simple. If you speak out against her, you're out. No more contact, no more relationships, no more access. Some even compare this to the way Meghan has been accused of cutting ties with her own father. Critics also say Meghan carries herself as though she is above everyone else. They describe her as acting confident to the point of arrogance, believing she deserves constant attention wherever she goes. Some have gone as far as saying she should return to California, spend more time with her children, and focus on building a career, instead of always finding herself surrounded by headlines and controversy. Many people also point back to the reported disagreement between Meghan Markle and Catherine, the Princess of Wales. According to those claims, the problems started long before the public knew anything about them. Back in 2018, people inside the royal household were already aware of growing tensions. Reports claimed that Catherine became concerned after hearing complaints about how Meghan was allegedly treating members of the palace staff at Kensington Palace. The palace complaints from 2018 have remained one of the biggest unanswered stories. A formal review was reportedly carried out, but the findings were never made public. Critics say the investigation quietly disappeared without giving the public any clear answers. They also point out that several staff members reportedly left their jobs during that period. The nickname Survivors Club, which was reportedly used by some former employees, has often been mentioned by those who believe the workplace was extremely difficult. Now, according to these latest reports, Poh Ling Yeow has become another person whose name has been added to that long list of people said to have had negative experiences with Meghan over the past several years. Reports also claim that Poh Ling Yeow simply tried to lighten the mood in the kitchen with a joke. But according to those accounts, Meghan was not interested in laughing. Critics argue that Meghan's idea of humor often comes at someone else's expense. They point to past stories involving Princess Charlotte, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, and other people who have worked around her, saying those incidents show a pattern they believe has repeated itself over and over again. Those critics describe Meghan's behavior as putting people down, making fun of them, and making sure everyone knows she is the one in charge. They argue that she likes to present herself as the boss in every situation, even when they believe she is not actually leading anything. Some commentators have even turned their attention to Prince Harry, arguing that his role in helping Meghan build her public image has reached its limit. They claim he has already given her everything he could, and now there is little else he can do to change public opinion. The bullying allegations became even more widely discussed after reports surfaced, claiming that senior palace officials had received several human resources complaints involving Meghan's treatment of staff members, including personal assistants. According to those reports, officials wanted to investigate the claims because multiple complaints had been made. Many people believed Meghan's appearance on MasterChef Australia would help improve her public image and show a different side of her. Instead, critics argue that it has only added another chapter to the same story that has followed her for years. Reports claim one of the show's most popular judges was left upset. Viewers also pointed out that the cooking challenge reportedly used the title royalty, despite claims that Meghan wanted to distance herself from royal titles. There were also reports suggesting that contestants were more interested in learning from the experienced judges than from Meghan herself. After the controversy began, critics say the familiar damage control effort quickly followed, with positive quotes from unnamed sources close to Meghan, carefully chosen social media photos, and repeated claims that everyone had a wonderful experience. What has surprised many people is that the controversy began even before the episode aired. Critics say this has become a familiar pattern whenever Harry and Meghan are involved in a major project. They argue that drama always seems to appear before the public even gets to see the finished product. According to those critics, stories about people being upset or brought to tears continue to follow Meghan wherever she goes, making it difficult for any project involving her to escape controversy. What really happened behind the scenes of MasterChef Australia? Why are people only speaking about it now? Let's take a closer look. Poh Ling Yeow, shocking revelation. Meghan has often tried to say that all the criticism against her was part of a witch hunt. She has claimed that palace staff, royal aides, and even people like me were working against her. But once she moved to Hollywood, the same kind of stories started appearing again. Reports from Vanity Fair and The Hollywood Reporter raised fresh questions. Then came serious allegations from Dr. Sophie Chandoka of the Centervale charity, claims that are now expected to be examined in court. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle continue to argue that everyone else is the problem. They point to the media, the royal family, the public, and even people who simply use polite words they do not like. But one thing keeps standing out. More and more people who have worked with Meghan seem to walk away with negative experiences. Whether it was at the palace, in Montecito, or now in Sydney, the pattern appears to stay the same, even though the location changes.
And then there are the supporters who insist Meghan is not motivated by money. They say she does what she
does because she genuinely loves it. According to them, this is simply how she expresses herself, not a way to make a profit. Still, Meghan's reputation did not appear overnight. Because of that, her team now seems focused on pushing a more positive story. Suddenly, reports started saying that Meghan had a wonderful time filming MasterChef Australia, and that the stories about tension behind the scenes were not true. Some critics believe those positive reports are nothing more than public relations. They argue that certain outlets no longer do independent reporting and instead repeat information provided by Harry and Meghan's team. In their view, the goal is simple: put out a different version of events before the negative headlines become the only story people remember. The timing of Meghan's Instagram photo collection also caught a lot of attention. Photos showing happy family moments appeared on the very same day that stories about the alleged bullying claims were making headlines. That day was also supposed to shine a light on another young royal. Yet the focus quickly shifted. Even a photo from Althorp was included. To critics, it looked like another attempt to change the conversation when the pressure was building. Others believe the posts were meant to pull attention away from difficult headlines, including stories in People magazine. They also argue the timing may have been designed to distract from Prince Harry's recent legal setbacks in the United Kingdom, where he suffered a major defeat in court and faced widespread criticism. Critics also accuse Meghan of turning small issues into personal attacks instead of accepting responsibility for her own actions. They believe this allows her to avoid difficult questions about her behavior. Some also argue that people around her have done little to challenge that approach. They praised Poh Ling Yeow for speaking honestly, especially because she had previously spoken kindly about Meghan in promotional interviews before filming. According to these reports, Poh's early comments reflected her naturally warm personality and the need to promote the show before it aired. But after filming ended, a different story reportedly emerged. Behind the cameras, strict rules and disagreements reportedly created tension. Meghan's team was said to be unhappy, Poh was reportedly upset, and production staff allegedly encouraged everyone to move on without making the issue bigger. Supporters of this version believe those behind-the-scenes accounts tell the real story. Some critics now say the truth is finally coming out after the promotional campaign ended. They argue that the positive public image presented at the beginning no longer matches the stories that are now being shared. Their conclusion is blunt. They believe Meghan has earned her reputation because of the way she allegedly treats other people. There is also growing speculation about the future of Harry and Meghan's marriage. Publicly, they continue to present a united front. But both in royal circles and in Hollywood, rumors continue to spread that the couple could eventually find themselves following very different paths, with each starting a separate chapter of life. So why was she there if it wasn't for the title and the attention that still comes with it? If she didn't want any royal connection, then why appear on the show in the first place? Let's explore further. Poh Ling Yeow's royal comment. The reports coming out of Australia claim that Meghan Markle invited herself to appear as a guest on MasterChef Australia. Most people would say that if you were raised with good manners, you don't invite yourself to events where you haven't been invited. It's not just about etiquette. It's also about having respect for yourself. Meghan is often said to insist on being called the Duchess of Sussex. But according to these reports, she didn't want the word royal mentioned during a cooking show. That's what many people find confusing. Reports claimed that Meghan and her team were unhappy because the word royal was used during her MasterChef Australia appearance. But that raises an obvious question. But the story does not end there. According to reports published on April 20th, a source told News Australia that Meghan's team was very frustrated because they had reportedly made it clear that they did not want the word royal used. The same source claimed they were waiting outside while filming was taking place, so they didn't know exactly what had been said inside. When people look at everything together, they say they see a pattern. There have been claims about a struggling cooking show, accusations that Meghan copied ideas from other women, awkward public moments, stories about palace staff leaving their jobs, reports of former aides feeling stressed before meetings, and now claims that a popular Australian judge was left upset after using what many believed was a polite compliment. Critics argue that after many years and across different countries, the same kinds of stories continue to appear. Through it all, Prince Harry has continued to stand by her. At the same time these reports were making headlines, Meghan was posting vacation photos on Instagram. Some critics believe those posts were meant to shift attention away from the controversy surrounding her reported MasterChef appearance. Her critics also point to earlier accusations that she treated people poorly behind the scenes. They argue that she had no problem being tough on others, but reacts very differently when she is the one being criticized. They say that's a common trait of someone who bullies others. They believe their own behavior is acceptable, but don't like being called out for it. Poh Ling Yeow's name has now been added to a list of people who have reportedly had difficult experiences with Meghan. Because of that, critics say the debate has moved beyond asking whether these reports are true. Instead, they wonder how many more similar stories will emerge before public opinion changes. Critics also point to other stories from the past. One example often mentioned is Meghan's visit to New York, where it was claimed that staff announced the Duchess of Sussex is coming before she entered a room. Another report described a similar introduction when she arrived at a restaurant in Beverly Hills. Because of stories like these, some people find it hard to believe that Meghan would suddenly object to someone saying, "We have royalty in the house." They argue that, based on previous reports, she has always seemed comfortable with royal titles and status. Others believe the real issue had nothing to do with the single word royalty. They argue that Meghan's public image has been built around her Duchess title, especially since leaving royal duties and moving into the entertainment industry. From that point of view, they say Poh Ling Yeow's comment about having royalty in the house should not have been controversial at all. They believe the title itself has remained an important part of Meghan's public identity, making the reported reaction seem inconsistent to many observers. Is there really a pattern behind every controversy surrounding Meghan Markle? Or is it all just a coincidence? Let's find out. Meghan Markle under fire. People often mention charity workers, members of the security team, television, producers, and now even Poh Ling Yeow, someone who is incredibly popular and respected across Australia. She has built a reputation for being warm, kind, and genuine, so it's no surprise that many Australians feel protective of her. According to critics, the names may change, but the pattern always seems to stay the same. The location changes from London to Hollywood, and now to Sydney, but they believe the story never really changes. Every time a new controversy appears, another person is added to the growing list, while the previous one slowly fades from the headlines. Throughout all of these moments, Prince Harry has remained firmly by Meghan's side. He has continued to support her publicly, defended her against criticism, and presented a united front whenever cameras are around. No matter what story is making headlines, the couple always appears together, smiling at events and showing the world that everything is perfectly fine. Some even wonder if there will ever be a situation involving someone close enough to the couple that it becomes impossible to explain away. They question whether carefully planned social media posts, polished magazine interviews, and picture-perfect family photos will always be enough to shift the public conversation whenever another negative story appears. One of the biggest questions raised by critics is whether Meghan ever faces any lasting consequences. They argue that after years of similar stories and accusations, very little seems to change. Instead, attention quickly moves somewhere else. In their view, the pattern repeats itself over and over again. A new report appears. News outlets begin discussing it. Before long, another carefully timed interview, a glowing magazine feature, or a series of happy family photos starts circulating online. So, what do you think about Poh Ling Yeow's shocking revelation about Meghan Markle bullying allegations? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.